Hey everyone! Have you ever wondered what factors contribute to students struggling in school? So today, we're going to tackle a pretty important topic, which is the student at risk for school failure. So as students ourselves, it is crucial we understand what can affect our academic performance and what we can do to avoid pitfalls. So let's divide and explore what it means to face challenges in school and how we can overcome them. But before that, here is our learning objectives. So, at the end of this lesson, you will be able to understand the factors contribute to school failure and identify the characteristic of at-risk children. And lastly, learn evidence-based strategies to support at-risk children. But before we proceed to our topic, let us first watch our case study.
No matter what type of circumstances that you have been raised in or have experienced, you always have the ability to find a way out and create success for yourself. And I had to do that in my own life. I'd see all the college students go towards the campus and I thought to myself, where are they going? What are they doing? Why do they look different than the rest of the people that are in the group? And that always kept in the back of my head. And our mother said, whatever you do, in order to change your circumstance, you're gonna have to get an education. And so I kept that in the back of my head. No matter what, I had to educate myself. I had to get a degree. The people that I saw going to the school down the street, that's something I could do. And I had that vision. I would go to this school that was like in a predominantly well-off area and everyone had books and paper and really nice shoes. And I remember looking at this thinking, oh, I don't have any of that. And every time I would come back into my neighborhood, I would see the graffiti and I'd see the trash. And I thought to myself, what makes a difference? Why are there people here in this situation versus here in this situation? And every single day I would come back and it came down to this. It was the thinking, how we think, how we look at situations, whether or not we see ourselves doing well and being successful, or versus if we see ourselves as a not successful person in an environment. Our thinking defines our life. And when we can take hold of our thought and see it for what it is and change it and transform it and change it to convert it into an energy that unleashes a brain power that allows us to change a situation, that, my friend, is how we change our lives, and that's how we change everyone else's. What happened was I was failing algebra. I failed algebra, I failed geometry, I failed calculus and chemistry. And there was this calculus teacher that said, all right, I'm gonna offer calculus tutoring for anyone who's willing to come to the campus during the winter break. And I thought everyone was gonna show up. There was only myself.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, this is such a blessing. And I sat there and I picked his brain. I'm like, how do I look? What does an integral mean? What does the tangent mean? What does the instantaneous rate mean? And these are all words for derivative in calculus. And I got a chance to sit down with them. And that was the first time ever that I realized I was smart. And when I sat with him, it was amazing because I realized what was stopping me was my own fear. It wasn't anything with my educational aspect. It was me thinking I couldn't do well in mathematics. And when I learned to remove that fear and think, I'm gonna do this no matter what's gonna happen. I may fail it, I may not fail it. I'm gonna do well at this and I'm gonna just see where it goes. I'm gonna put my all into it. We'll find out. And I put my all into it and I failed. But it's something inside of me shifted. I realized, hey, failing wasn't that bad. If I can like spend a little bit more time at it, I can actually do really well at this. And that was the shift in thinking. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna spend some more time in it and I'm gonna actually get this. when I overcome my own fear, it was when I was working with someone else and recognizing that the person next to me was the exact mirror of myself. And as I could help that person right next to me, I was helping myself at the same time. And it became this teamwork. Every single person on the campus needed mathematics. And so I got a chance to know everybody on the campus and became one of the most popular people because everyone needed mathematics. And that confidence that was built from taking something that I failed at before and shifting my thinking about it and embracing it to actually create a new reality for myself, that's what empowered me. And that's what allowed me to graduate top of my class, which later on opened up the door to launch rockets. Through a series of events, I learned the power that we have in our brain. When I overcame so many challenges when I was launching rockets of being a woman and being a person of color in a predominantly area that was different than myself, I had to think differently. I had to think, all right, I'm gonna stand out. Everything that I do is gonna have to be twice as good. That's just the nature of it. And I had to change the way in which I was thinking in order to do that. How am I going to be such a contributing force to this environment that whenever I leave, I've made a difference? And when I realized that, and then when I coupled that with the aspect of mathematics, where the same type of math that we use to launch to Mars is the same type of math that we use to literally reshape our own brain, I realized the power of our thoughts. When we are aware of where we are, what we're doing, and more importantly, the decision that we have in front of us, the choice in our thought in a situation, whatever decision that we make in that full awareness, that decision in itself is a fractal moment in chaos that literally changes the brain at that very moment to restructure it inside of your head so you can unleash your power. When you look at how are my thoughts going to align with where I want to go, and you decide, that moment in time where you decide, this is a thought that's going to get me to being a rocket scientist. This is a thought that's going to get me to be a doctor. This is a thought to get me to be a host of my own show. Whatever it takes, I'm going to have all the type of thoughts that's going to get me closer to where I want to go in the future. When we realize that we have a choice in how we think about things, where we have a choice, are we going to be scared about something, or are we going to go for it no matter what's going to happen? That is when we unleash this power to here. When you are expected to succeed by your mentors or parents or teachers, when there is an expectation on your life to do well, at an early age, you adopt it, you address it, you adhere to it, you create it. But if you are never given that opportunity to know what you are capable of doing, if you are never given that word, that encouragement that says, do you know what, you can be good at mathematics, even though you failed algebra and geometry and calculus and chemistry, which I did,
Crazy.
You can actually do well in mathematics. If there's not someone showing you your worth when you can't see it, you'll forever be looking in the mirror thinking that you're not worth what you are. When you see exactly what you don't want, if you can take the exact opposite of that, that's how you find out what you do want. For example, when we launched rockets, we knew, okay, we didn't want there to be an explosion out the jacket, which was like the side of the rocket, but we wanted the explosion to go down. So we thought, okay, what is the worst case scenario? And the worst case scenario is, okay, there will be a kind of entire flames blowing out where we don't want it to go. So we're like, how can we prevent that? How can we focus on where we do want it to go? Where's the ideal part for it to go? And the ideal part is for all the flames to go down the tubes and go through and create a plume. So what we had to do in that aspect is literally envision exactly what we didn't want and figure out the chain of events that could possibly get us there to what we don't want, and then go backwards. The beauty about working in rocket science is that I had the ability to observe genius brains. And I realized that any of us can gain a genius brain no matter what age we're at. It doesn't matter. Forget what anyone's ever told you. You can gain a smart brain at any age. Every decision that you make reshapes your brain. The more powerful you are in making decision after decision after decision, the more powerful your brain becomes.
Does that make you really careful about what decisions you make? Like, are you super aware when you're making decisions?
I've learned to become aware to see, all right, this is where I want to go. How is this decision going to help me get there? It's always keeping that in the back of your head, like, this is where I'm going to go. And I'd made the decision very early in life that no matter where I was going to change it. I was going to change it so I would leave my mark to be able to help in a very powerful way, so people after I leave would be able to make their own mark and build it in a way in which was going to be very powerful for their life. If you're a person in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and the word STEM, go into it, do it. There is such an overwhelming need for you. You have the ability to see the big picture. You have the ability not only to do the mathematics, but you have the ability to see the big picture and use your communication skills in order for people to see how important concepts are. So that is the gift that you bring. If you have the opportunity to go into that, do it.
The case study tells about Olympia Lepoint, a woman who transformed her life from being a failing student to become a successful rocket scientist at NASA. She believes that having the right mindset and making good choices can help people achieve their goals. She's also passionate about empowering women in science and technology. Her story shows that with determination and hard work, anyone can overcome challenges and achieve great things.
So what is children at risk for school failure? A children at risk for school failure is a student who may struggle to succeed in school because of certain factors in their life or environment. According to Stormont 2007 and Stormont et al. 2012, many children is at risk for school failure. So these factors arise or can come from within the child, such as learning difficulties or behavioral challenges, or from outside the child, such as family problems, poverty, or lack of support. So it makes children vulnerable to academic and social difficulties. School failure refers to students who do not meet academic standards. So the students did not reach the expected level in subject areas. Then, repeating grades, students is held back because he or she did not master the skills needed to move on or to move to the next grade. And then dropping out. It means that students leave schools before finishing their education. And next, we have persistent disengagement. It refers to permibala siya, absent sa klase, and then he or she feels unmotivated and not participating and not completing tasks.
So, who are the children at risk? Children can be considered at risk if they have a higher chance of facing academic struggles, like poor grades, regular absence, and dropouts. They are the students that needs extra support academically and socially.
Next, we have here the characteristics of at-risk children. So first, we have the poor attendance and absenteeism rates. So it refers to students who are often late in class or absent. And next, we have the low academic achievement in literacy and numeracy. So students struggles with basic reading, writing, and math skills. Reading, writing, and math skills are foundation skills in which if students have difficulty in these areas, it leads them to challenges in other subjects as well. Third, we have the behavioral problems or social withdrawal, such as showing disruptive behavior or others may prefer to be alone, avoiding everyone. So it can also affect their learning and relationships at school. The low motivation and engagement. So students show little interest in schoolwork, not participating in class, do not do well in tasks, or wala gid yaga obra sa mga tasks. So it slows down their learning progress. So it can also affect their academic performance. Lastly, we have repeating grades or early dropout signs. So students did not meet the required skills for the next grade. That is why they may be asked to repeat.
Common factors that put children at risk. So first are the children from low-income families, since resources very limited, like for example, books, internet, or even house. So this may affect the children academics. They may struggle to keep up at school and repeat grades. So next is the lack of parental engagement. So if the parents are not involved in the child's learning, whether it is due to stress or work, the child's motivation may be decreased, and it may affect their academic performance since the child may feel less supported. So the less the parents participate, the lower it is for the child to succeed. Children from broken families. So these are the children who experience separation, divorce, and ongoing family issues that may affect their focus, behaviors, and performance in school. So family issues can distract children and make learning even more difficult. Children affected by substance abuse. So if a child grows up in a home with substance abuse, they often feel fear and emotional trauma that may affect their behavior and performance in schools, like poor grades and regular absence. Next is school-related factors, like for example, overcrowded classroom. So it is very hard for the teacher na maghatag ng attention to every students, and also if the school lacks materials and equipment and qualified teachers, the student may fall behind and struggle in schools. So in short, poor school condition limits learning. Next is bullying. So when someone scares, pressuring someone, and hurting, like for example, hitting, kicking, and biting, it is a form of bullying. It may affect the children's mental health that leads to school poor performance.
The third factor, we have the community-related factors. So first, we have here the language barriers. So according to the National Clearinghouse for English Language Acquisition 2019, English language learners often struggle with instruction in a non-native language, affecting their comprehension and engagement. Here we have an example. A student cannot answer the teacher's question because the lesson explained in English and she doesn't fully understand it. So as a result of this, she may stay silent during the whole class, give wrong answers and understanding, or she may feel confused. So this shows how language barriers can make it harder for students to participate in class discussion. Another community-related factors, we have the children from ethnic group. According to BUMIC 2019, children from minority or immigrant families may struggle in school because they have to adjust to a new culture, learn a new language, and often deal with poverty or lack of support. So students come from ethnic group can also experience unfair treatment from other people, or experience racism, discrimination, or bullying. It may also hinder them in going to school, and also it can affect their academic performance, and they may feel unmotivated and also it can affect their attendance and participation in class. The personal or individual factors. So children with learning disabilities such as dyslexia or ADHD, stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, often face academic challenges that hinder success unless properly supported. A child with dyslexia struggles to read or spell words correctly. Even if they understand it or understand the story, reading assignments take much longer, affecting their performance in language or other subjects. Meanwhile, students with ADHD may have trouble in paying attention. So, students with ADHD has very short attention span. So, tama kalipot lang ang ilang attention span. So, they may find it hard to focus on class discussions or in listening to their teacher. They may also find it hard to follow instructions. They may forget tasks or make careless mistakes. So these challenges can make it harder for them to succeed in school unless they receive proper guidance and support, accommodations from parents and teachers. Parental involvement is also essential, and also teaching strategies that are only designed for students with learning disabilities. Next, children with chronic illness. Children with chronic health conditions often struggle in school due to reduced focus, low motivation, difficulty with assignments, and frequent absences. So, children who have long-term health conditions that undergo treatment and medications such as asthma, diabetes, or heart problems, or cancer, or often face challenges in school. Their illness can cause frequent absences kaya syempre need nila mag-attend sa ilang medication. So they need to skip classes. They can also experience fatigue or difficulty concentrating in class because of their illnesses. Example, a student with asthma misses several days of school each month due to hospital visits or illness, causing them to fall behind in lessons and homework. Lastly, we have teenage pregnancy. I know you are very familiar with this topic because nowadays many teenagers did not finish their school because they get pregnant at early age. This can limit their future opportunities and personal development. Some women do not continue their education because for them, early motherhood, may family responsibilities na sila, and they may find it hard to attend school regularly because may kinahanglan sila nga alagaan niya bata and may responsibilidad na siya as mother. So they may also feel pressure from society or family to prioritize home duties over education, which can lead to missed opportunities and interrupted learning.
So here are the different evidence-based strategies to support at-risk children. So first, the early screening and identification. So the early screening and identification refers to the process of identifying students who are at risk for school failure or academic difficulties as early as possible. So this can involve using assessments, observations, and other tools to identify students who may need additional support or interventions. So number 2, the Individualized Education Program or IEPS. So an individual education program or IEP is a personalized education plan developed for students with disabilities or special needs. An IEP outlines the student's strengths and weaknesses to set goals and objectives, and specify the services and accommodation that will be provided to support the student's learning. Number 3 refers to the involvement of families in their child's education and school life. This can include activities such as parent-teacher conference, volunteering in the classroom or school, and participating in the parent-teacher organizations, and lastly, communicating with teachers and school staff about their child's progress. Number 4. Mentoring and counseling. So mentoring and counseling refers to the provision of guidance, support, and encouragement to students who are at risk for school failures and other challenges. So this can involve one-on-one mentoring or counseling, group counseling or support groups, and providing guidance on academic, social, and personal issues. Number 5. Instructional strategies. So an instructional strategist refers to the methods and approaches used to teach students. Some effective instructional strategies for supporting at-risk children is number 1, Universal Design for Learning or UDL. It is a framework for designing instruction that is accessible and engaging for all students. Number 2, differential instructions, an approach to teaching that involves tailoring instruction to meet the diverse needs and abilities of students. These two are the instructional strategies for supporting at-risk